His name is Danny DeVito. He will defeat you if he wants, if he please. And if you don't give him his lemons, then he will break your knees. Your knees. His name is Danny DeVito. He really needs those lemons. And if you don't give them to him, he'll break your knee.
Hello everybody, and welcome today, where, we're drawing the Wither Storm, yippee! I was actually commissioned by my grandmother to draw something, and I figured, given that I've been breaking down the Time Eater and Wither Storm recently, doing a full-blown, fully detailed picture of the Wither Storm would work out pretty well. And, yeah, so that's what I did. I've already done the basic sketching of the, Wither Storm because, well, I basically showed the entire process of breaking it down in previous episodes. So, also I thought it'd be really cool to point out this scrapped design of the Wither Storm I had made. Anyhow, we started off by erasing all of the sketching work, and then going over it again with a Sharpie to pen it all in. It was at this point where I had to take a break because I was asked to dance, so I went to that, had fun, and then we will commence with day 2. Immediately into day 2, I started right back up by penning in the background. And then I had to pause for a moment because I accidentally hit the stop recording button on my camera and everything of value was lost. here's a fun little factoid for ya. To make sure I did it as accurately as possible, I individually looked at every single little flying debris around the Wither Storm and matched it match for match on my drawing. So yeah, that's a solid like 20 minutes of my life I'm never gonna get back. Yippee! I'm going to be completely honest, I have no idea why my camera stopped. Oh, so my microphone has made me record this 5 times now. If it happens one more time, I will cry. Now it's time to start the coloring, and oh man, was this a process. Holy crap, it sucked. just then, my camera died, and thus commenced the end of day 3. Immediately after starting back up again, I jumped in right back where I was. And then immediately after, all the storage on my camera's SD card immediately cut out, and I was left having to edit a bunch of projects on my camera before I could continue. Yippee! After editing a few small YouTube videos, everything was finally back together and I could continue drawing. And then, of course, because while I was editing, I left my camera on, and guess what? Its battery ran out, so I had to quickly charge it again.
All around me are familiar faces, worn out.
Back at it again with Danny Lee. Now that I had got the main Endercon building, as well as the Wither Storm down, I figured that it was finally time to start doing the main background, being the hills, the midnight sky, the moon, and the clouds. So yeah, let's commence with that. Admittedly, it took me a minute to figure out how I wanted to do the moon. If I wanted to do a more cartoony look to it, or a more realistic look to it. Eventually, to save myself some headache and be more accurate to Minecraft, I went with a cartoony look. I feel like now is also a good time to mention it took me way too long to choose the color for the clouds, simply cause, well, I'm incompetent, so like, yeah. But after a while I thought this lavender looked nice with the midnight. After a while, it was finally time to start my very first attempt at shading a Wither Storm. Didn't go too well in my opinion, but you'll just have to wait and see the final product, I guess. Anyhow, yeah. I started by using yellow to highlight the bottom of the Wither Storm, and then using a white to make a glowy moon effect, and then I would go back and re-add highlights onto the Wither Storm as if moonlight was shining on it. Final steps would be to add the glow around the Wither Storm, and most people think the Wither Storm glows purple, but that just isn't true. It actually glows blue. And then which, you know, Cracker's Wither Storm, that's my only pet peeve. He doesn't glow blue, he glows purple. But anyhow, the final step would be to add the tractor beams. Then, of course, at the worst timing possible, my camera commit die. Soon I hopped right back into it, starting back again with shading. And this leads me to where I am right now, cause unfortunately, once again my SD card ran out of storage, which means I had to edit all of part 1 of this, and I'm gonna combine it with part 2 later, so yeah, look forward to that. Here it comes, in 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1, go!
And just like that, everyone, we are back at it again with day 7. Today we are finishing off the drawing. I don't got much left to do except for add very small minor details, so let's get right into it, I guess.
I see no, hear no evil. Black rat
And now everything is finally said and done. So please enjoy the next few moments where you just get to sit back, relax, and enjoy this beautiful photo by yours truly. Yes, indeed. Spent way too long working on this, and I am way more than happy to show it off to you all. Without further ado, this has been Danny Lee. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye, everybody. Make sure to enjoy next episode of whatever the frick I decide to do. Join the channel memberships if you have the money, time, and patience to just enjoy. And without further ado, peace, everybody. It's been a good one.